I'll leave it to you what colors you choose, but I have got a cut. Well, you can choose one color, and I know I said two, but maybe just one.
Yeah.
And then if you've got your charcoal somewhere near, could you get your charcoal and have your stick of charcoal, which will be your black, and a white or a cream if you've got one. Is before you do a single thing, because we're going to do this little scale here, okay? And it's made up of black, white, and then the color in the middle. All right, so you need to actually draw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares, and I would do them reasonable size, and this is on your spare piece of paper. So if you could make the squares 5 centimeters, and if you, or yeah, okay, 5 centimeters, and the length of this little exercise is 29 centimeters. So I'll just write that down here. First of all, just draw a straight line, okay, down on your spare piece of paper. And now the length of that line, if you can't do it freehand, do it with a ruler, should be, let's make it 28 centimeters long. Just want you to draw a line that's 28 centimeters long on your spare piece of paper. So you should have on your board your proper piece of paper and then this spare piece of paper, which we're going to do this initial exercise on. Okay, so the exercise is drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rectangles, squares, whatever you want to make them. I'm suggesting that you do them 5 centimeters deep.
What?
So this is 28 centimeters, and this will be 5 centimeters. Okay, so just start by doing a line that's 28 centimeters long, and then another one on the other side. This doesn't have to be too perfect.
Oh, 28 centimeters.
You're right, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to put my ruler down, and when you've all got 2 straight lines that are drawn on this spare piece of paper and they're 5 centimeters apart, will you please put Lucy so she can tell me and I can see that you're ready for me to do the next step. If you want to start at this end and make that a white, use your white and just fill it in with white. So you can see it's a white rectangle. I think when I did this exercise, I used cream because I maybe didn't have white, but for tonight, I'm using white. And this end, the other end, is black. I'm using my charcoal on its side in order to get that first rectangle dead black. And then I want you to find the color that you're going to use as your color. But I'm going to do green. So if you've got a green, then that's lovely. And that goes right in the middle. So it's 2 squares away from the black. And for the rest of you who have got your 7 boxes, by now you should have black in the first one, your colour in the middle one, which is box 4, and white in box 1. Now, in order to get to create a tonal scale like the one I've got here, what I've done with these two, that's my equivalent of my green, that blue in the middle. And for these two other colours or tones between the mid one and the white, I basically put green on first, lightly, and I did it over both boxes at the same time. And you can use your finger to smudge, because I think that way you don't get too much of the grey paper showing up through, or the white paper, whatever you're working on. So just soften it all with your finger so you get a sort of reasonably black colour. Now, in the box that's nearest the middle one, you can add a bit more green, or a bit more whatever colour you've got. And then I want you to go over those two. The one that's nearest to white will have slightly more white over it. And the one that's nearest the green will have slightly less. So I want you to be able to see that these two here are tints of that green colour in the middle. They're not as strong. They've been diluted with a bit of white. Can you see that on mine?
You're going white and then green.
No, I put the green on first, and then I put the white over the top. I'm adding a bit more white on this one, so it's clearly different to that. So I've got, you know, pure green, a green with some white, a green with a bit more white, and then my pure white.
Pure green, pure with white.
Basically, instead of mixing in a palette, you're mixing on the paper with these pastels. So you're creating, you know, these colours by layering the white and the green, or the whatever colour it is you've got, but you're layering it so to get those colours in between. Right, now the rest of you, we're on to these end two. So again, don't put the black on too heavily. Just put it on so that you know, it's a dark grey is what I would suggest. So I've done that. Now I'm going to smudge it. So if you want to look at what I'm doing, everybody. So I'd actually put a bit more black on it than I have done, because it's not quite enough. So it's not, I'm not aiming to make it black. I'm just aiming to make it a dark grey, both squares. Right. At this point, I then get my green and I go over the top. Now I know that the first one is going, the one that's closest to square number 4 is going to have slightly less. I'm not going to press the green pastel too hard. I'm just going to do it lightly and then mix it with the black underneath. So it's, well, it actually doesn't look that different. So I'm going to go over it with some black. So you can do that. You can do it the reverse way around as well. That's better. And then obviously the last one is going to have a greater proportion of green on it, the one that's nearer the black.
So, oh wait, I got a little bit lost there. You know those three at the bottom? What did you put underneath?
Black.
Okay. That's different from the other end where we put green.
I did, yes. No, yes. I'm having to adjust it as well with black over the top to get them sufficiently different. Quite tricky, actually.
That'll be easier for me because my green was so light. It'll be easier to make it darker.
So I've had to go over this green with black to get those different tones. So I've gone back over with black over the top of the mixture. I don't mind how you do it as long as you end up with, you know, a clear distinction between the black, the next one, and then the next one. I think in this original one, this blue one, it's not quite right. I should have had more blue on that one nearest the white, for those of you that are interested. I was going to ask you this evening to do complementary colours, and I think I did put that in the email, but on reflection, I thought it might be quite a good idea if we started with just a simple tonal scale using one colour, and then maybe next week we can work with the complements, because it's a little bit more tricky. It doesn't lend itself to small shapes, so it's better to work larger than you would normally, if you know, and if necessary slightly enlarge what you're looking at. I mean, the plants I'm looking at, I probably will maybe just focus on a little part of it rather than the whole thing. I don't know, but just remember that it's a big medium and you won't find doing little shapes very easy. I think that's what these are quite good examples that I've got here to show you, because the shapes are sort of the size I would think will be easy and be comfortable to work with. And you can see in both cases it's using a limited palette, so it's using just, you know, the 7 colours that we've been mixing and nothing else. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I think you need to, before you embark on it, I mean, when I'm looking at my plants, what's lovely about it, both of them, is the way that you see the leaves in all sorts of different positions that make it visually very inspiring. You know, it's a very inspiring thing. You don't just see them all head on. So when you're drawing your plant this evening, take that into account, you know, that maybe one leaf might be in front of another one, that some are curled over, you know, you're seeing bits of the front of a leaf, or some are coming towards you and they will require your ingenuity with foreshortening. And if you want to include the little, like with my begonia, they've got they're sort of these lovely leaves that then have a little stem that goes to the main trunk of the plant. I mean, it's lovely. It's like a small tree, but in a flower pot. So if you've done, the reason for doing that little tonal scale is so that you are aware of the variety of tones and tints that you can make from that one color with black and white, and that you stick to that and you don't introduce anything else this evening, and that you begin your study with your white chalk, which is what I'm going to do, and that you work at a reasonably good scale, comfortable scale, so that you don't work too small. And then decide how much of your plant you're going to do, or if you're just going to do 2 or 3 leaves. I don't mind what you do, as long as you really, you know, engage with what you're doing and find a way of drawing it first of all with the white chalk so you get the shapes on the page.